Welcome to episode 2 of Gridiron Glory. I'm Alexander Cook and I'm joined by Cole Wolfgang. And let's start with the AP Top 25 teams in big games this week. We have number 24 Navy taking on Memphis. And Memphis tried to stage a comeback in the fourth quarter, but Navy was able to hold them off. Your final score from Annapolis, 42-28 Navy, and I project they will be moving up. And then number 22 UNC taking on Virginia. And Cole, this wasn't even close. Oh yeah, that was a very good one. And it was actually pretty close in the beginning, Cole. Yeah, and let's take a look at number 20 Western Michigan. They took on Eastern Michigan at home, and they got the job done. They moved to 8-0, 4-0 in the MAC, and they won 45-31. Very close game up front, but in the end, great job by the Broncos. And you could see them potentially in a New Year's Six Bowl. What do you think about that, Cole? And you know that they're not going to be in the playoff because there are just too many other good teams. But if they keep winning New Year's Six, watch out. You might see the Broncos in that. The number 19 Utah escaping at the Rose Bowl against UCLA. And remember, before this game, they were 3-4 and 1-3 in the Pac-12. Now they're 3-5 and 1-4 in the Pac-12. Utah gets the job done, 52-45. Certainly a game to watch. And Utah actually was up 14-0 in the first quarter. But then UCLA scores 21 unanswered. Then you've got Utah scoring 13 unanswered. And then it's pretty matched towards the end. But great job by the Utes. Very exciting one over in Pasadena. Now it's time for number 16, Oklahoma, taking on Texas Tech. And you know that Big 12, high-scoring, close games, and probably the worst out of the Power 5 conferences. Don't you agree, Cole? And look at Texas Tech's record: 3-4, 1-3 in the Big 12 after the 66-59 loss. Look at Oklahoma's record: 5-2, 4-0 in the Big 12. It's misleading because it was such a close game. The Big 12 is the closest to not being a Power 5 conference, I've got to say. Okay, so how about number 12 in the country, West Virginia, taking on TCU in Morgantown, and it wasn't even close. West Virginia getting the job done 34-10, and watch out, West Virginia is pretty darn good. What do you think, Cole? They have to win out, and if they do, I think they're in. But it's hard to win out because you got to play Baylor in Oklahoma. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible. And of course, West Virginia undefeated still, and TCU falling to 4-3, 2-2 in the Big 12. How about this game? Number 11 Houston taking on 2-4 SMU in Dallas. And SMU did a great job. They crushed Houston 38-16, Cole. Do you think they're out, or do you think they're going to barely cling on to that top 25? Or worse. Yeah, and I agree. I think they're still in, but one more loss, one more terrible performance, one more being overmatched by a team like Virginia Tech, and they're surely out. We're going to talk about Virginia Tech in our AP Top 25 predictions a little bit later. How about number 10 Wisconsin bringing the D against Iowa on the road at Kinnick Stadium, winning 17-9. That was certainly an exciting one. Great job by Wisconsin on defense, but they need to get things going on offense. Now, they did get things going, but too many stupid mistakes. Missed field goals. They fumbled on the goal line. But they're just going to have to play better. But let's be honest, the Big Ten West is not strong, and I still think Wisconsin's going to beat Nebraska next week in a pivotal matchup at Camp Randall. What do you think, Cole? Absolutely. Absolutely. And they should have beat Ohio State. Yeah. And remember the penalty right before overtime? They were getting into field goal range, but that penalty, that's why they lost the game. And also too many field goals, not enough touchdowns. But hey, I think Wisconsin's a quality team. I think you're going to see them beat Nebraska. I think it's going to be somewhat close, but ooh, I think that'll be a good one. What do you think, Cole? I think that could even overmatch Saturday Night Football on ABC next week with Clemson and Florida State. Because, Clemson's basically going to get to the ACC championship unless they fall apart, even if they do lose to Florida State. Almost. Almost lost. Absolutely. I think they're way overranked. It's just terrible. And then we have number 7, Louisville taking on NC State. We both predicted Louisville, but I said it'd be close. Well, remember last week, Friday Night Lights, under the Friday Night Lights, Louisville struggled against Duke. Did you know it was raining? That's right. And it's hard, yeah. And you know how bad they defeated NC State? Yeah, 54 to right, 54 to 13. Clemson is not a playoff team. Get them out of there. That's what I said. All right, number 5, Washington, probably going to move up to number 3, right? After thrashing Oregon State at home 41 to 17. I'm always impressed by Jake Browning and company. What about you, Cole? Absolutely. And then Michie, the Wolverines, getting the job done just too easy against Illinois. Now, I think there's some, the hype around the two coaches, Harbaugh and Ash. Well, guess what? I think that was just hype to make up for how badly Michigan would have destroyed Illinois, and they did. If they wanted to, they could have probably beat their score against Rutgers. Okay, so let's take a look at our ranked matchups right now. How about LSU taking on Ole Miss? It was very close at one point, 21-21, but LSU pulls away late, winning 38-21. And I think LSU has talent. I think they're going to challenge Alabama in a few weeks, and I'm pretty impressed. What do you think, Cole? Absolutely. And then let's take a look at Auburn taking on Arkansas. Now, you had Arkansas, but things didn't go the way you expected them to, and it didn't go the way I expected them to. I thought it's going to be close, but I did pick Auburn, and look at what happens. 56-3, Cole. So, Cole, I think Alabama's got some tough games coming up, especially Auburn, but also LSU. I mean, before I thought, Alabama was just going to run over these teams, and now look at it. But in the end, of course, well, we'll get to that game, but I think that Auburn's probably the second best team in the SEC right now, followed by LSU. What do you think, Cole? And and remember, look at how much they've improved on offense. In the beginning of the season, they couldn't score a touchdown, and now look at them. No field goals, ultimate domination, 56-3. So still good. Still good. And that offense, I am so impressed by the Tigers right now. Let's move on to the most hyped up matchup of the week, and it didn't deliver. Alabama taking on Texas A&M. It was close. At one point, Texas A&M had a 14-13 lead, but they blew it. Alabama wins 33-14, and right now Alabama is the best team in the country. Absolutely. And, I had Alabama, and you know what I say? I don't believe Alabama will lose until they do lose. That's a fact for me. Now, we talked about Clemson being overranked. But what about Ohio State being overranked? Cole, the game of the week. Field goal blocked, returned all the way, and James Franklin's job was saved. 17 points scored in the fourth quarter. And you've gotta love, I mean, Gridiron Glory, doesn't that name ring a Big Ten bell? Oh my, that's what the Big Ten's all about right there. And power football, and we had that last night. You know, I just that was a great classic. I mean, the block at Beaver, great game, and that's one to remember if you're a Penn State fan. Certainly one to remember if you're James Franklin, because you still have your job. And you think I think with the signature win, you could see some good things happening over College Park in the next few years. And just like the signature win for SMU, same thing over here. All right, so let's take a look at our hashtag CFB top 3. We're going to pick our top 3 performances of the week, and out of all the top 25 teams, or not the top 25 teams, who is number 1 for you? For me, it's got to be, because I think Ohio State was overranked before, for me, it's going to be Auburn dominating Arkansas. And number 2 for me, Penn State signature win, great for the program. And I think Ohio State was already overranked because you hear Kirk Herbstreit rambling about JT Barrett's great leadership. I think he is a great leader, but he hasn't been great throwing the football. He did better today, but just not enough against that phenomenal Penn State defense. I've got to go. I mean, this is a hard pick for me once again, but I expected Alabama, come out big. They did, and I've got SMU signature one for their program. And we know Houston was overranked, but still great for the SMU program. All right, now let's talk AP Top 25, Cole. So, are you ready to go? Let's talk about it as it is right now, okay? Number 24, Navy. Number 22, North Carolina. Number 20, Western Michigan. Number 18, Tennessee. Number 16, Oklahoma. Number 14, Boise State. Number 12, West Virginia. Number 10, Wisconsin. Number 8, Nebraska. Number 6, Texas A&M. Number 4, Clemson. Number 2, Ohio State. All right, let's start at the bottom of the list and work our way up. I think LSU is definitely trending upward. What do you think? Yeah. So, as we know, LSU at number 25 now, and probably Ole Miss is going to move out, right? Right, it will. So, I think Ole Miss will move out of the top 25. I mean, you can't have a team 3 and 4 in the top 25, right, Cole? They're going to be out. Where does LSU move for you? I think I think I think so, and you can make a case to move them higher, but I think Navy stays put at number 24. 22 UNC, they stay put, not the best one. I think Auburn moves way up. I think they're going to replace Florida State. Yeah, someone who hasn't played or something like that. Okay, so I think you've got Arkansas getting out, or like top number 25. We're talking that. Western Michigan, I think they stay relatively put. Yeah. Well, you can't move a team during a bye week. They've never done that. So, well, yeah. Anyway, that's true. But a team can't fall during a bye week. Yeah. Okay, so let's just instead of doing so we'll do our picks for the top 10, but until then let's just say who's trending upward and who's trending downward, okay? All right. So we'll go ahead to Utah trending upward. I think they stay put because that they had a huge win against a not too good UCLA team, but it was a big one. What are I of course Tennessee will stay put. Uh, you thinking Arkansas? You've got to think trending downward. What do you think about Oklahoma? Or stay put? Yeah. Florida can't go up or down. They had a bye week. Boise State big win over BYU. I think they're trending upward. Right. And then Florida State, they're not moving anywhere with the bye. West Virginia, a strong statement against TCU. I think they're trending upward. And you got Houston, number 11. They are really trending downward. Or even out of the list, which is not likely, but it could happen. And then at number, okay, let's do our top 10 picks. We'll start at the bottom and move our way up. We'll start with Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin had a nice win today. So I'd replace Wisconsin with Nebraska. Like, it wasn't very impressive against Purdue, but they are undefeated. Baylor at the bye. They're just going to stay put. So what do you think about Louisville? I, Actually, I think moved to number 6 because of Texas A&M moving out. But still, top 15. And then we've got Washington. I think they moved to number 3. Clemson. I think Clemson stays put because they have to. Ohio State falls to number 5 or lower. So I'm thinking. So actually, on second thought, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see Louisville move up. You're going to see the Cards move up to number 5. You're going to see. I think you're going to see Nebraska come right with them, and then Baylor stays put. Wisconsin goes over Baylor, and then I think with Texas A&M, they're out of the top 10. Take over, yeah. And then we have let's just quickly go through it. Number 1, Alabama. What a win. Number 2, Michigan. Strong win against Illinois. Not a strong team, but well-deserved win there. Well-deserved move. Number 3, I'm going Washington. Great win. Number 4, Clemson. They can't move. Number 5, I've got Louisville. Number 6, I have Nebraska. Number 7, Wisconsin. Remember, Baylor didn't play this week, so. Yeah. Number 8, I'm going to go I'm going to go with the Baylor Bears. And then we've got number 9. I think you could see West Virginia slipping up there. And then we've got Boise State with a strong win. Maybe Boise State to number 10, but if it's not Boise State, it's going to be Texas A&M at number 10. Because they played the number 1 team in the country. All right, so now it's time for our Heisman race. So let's start with number 1, and you know who this guy's going to be. We'll say it on 3. 3, 2, 1. Lamar Jackson. At number 2 right now, I'm actually going to put Jabril Peppers there. What do you think? Right, they didn't play. So Deshaun Watson at number 2. And then we have at number 3, Jabril Peppers. All right. Okay. At number 4, I'm gonna put Jake Browning. But number 5, I've got someone moving in. Have you heard of Jalen Hurts? He hurts. What a game he had against A&M. Yeah, and I think it's possible that he surpasses Browning, that he surpasses Peppers. But what if Peppers has a huge game against Ohio State? Then I'd be worried. Yeah, all right. And then I think Jalen Hurts, if he continues to deliver, he's going to be in that Heisman race for sure. Big time. All right, so now it's time for our NFL predictions. So are you ready to get started? Okay. So we had the Bears and the Packers on Thursday night. Not even close. I mean, they've been disappointments this year, Cole. And I mean, the Packers get the win. Bears fall 1-6. They're terrible. They're not, but at the same time, it's, the Bears are a disaster. So not a huge win for the Packers. And, Thursday night football, I'd rather watch the college games, quite honestly, because the NFL games are just awful. And Monday night can be good, but most of the time it's pretty bad, too. Without a doubt, and mostly Sunday night football, which you will be covering tonight, Cole. All right, so let's start with the 9:30 a.m. game. Giants currently taking on the Rams. Last time I checked, it was a tie game. Right, so what's your prediction for the end result there? I also think with that they have a pretty good defense. I think they're in halftime they're going to have a pep talk and they're going to come out firing, especially on that defensive side of the ball. And that's currently on the NFL Network. 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Saints taking on the Chiefs. Who are you thinking? Look, I just can't believe it. The Saints are so good on offense, but their defense is terrible. The Saints. Yeah, I agree. They're just average and everything, but I've got to go with the Saints outscoring the Chiefs. How about the Colts taking on the Titans? And the Titans and the Colts have been disappointments this year, but the Titans are a little bit better on defense, and I think that's the X factor. Titans get the win. And this is the game, perhaps one of the top games of the year. How about the Eagles taking on the Vikings? Absolutely. Especially on that defensive side of the ball. Vikings by a field goal or a touchdown for me. How about the Browns taking on the Bengals, 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS? And remember, if you have NFL Sunday ticket, you can watch all the games instead of the ones that CBS and Fox are gracious enough to give you. Now, we're not a big fan of NFL Sunday ticket because it's just a big way to make more money, but it can come in handy if you have to see your favorite team and you don't live in that area. So the Browns and the Bengals both have been disappointing, but the Browns are worse. Give me the Bengals. Absolutely. And Redskins on the road to take on Detroit on Fox. I've got to go Redskins. I think they're a little bit better overall than the Lions, but the Lions have done some amazing things this year. Amazingly somehow losing and amazingly somehow winning. And another game, 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Oakland Raiders taking on Jacksonville Jaguars. A usual dud, but I think the Raiders are more. I mean, this is a hard pick because the Raiders are so good on offense, whereas the Jaguars are pretty bad. I mean, the Raiders are terrible on defense, but the Jaguars are more balanced, but they're terrible on offense. I think this is a narrow win for Oakland. I agree. I think they outscored the Jaguars. And then let's take a look at the Bills taking on the Dolphins. Yet another 1 p.m. Eastern game on CBS. Both of these teams are nothing to rave about, but I'm going to go with the Bills because they have a much better rushing attack and they have a much better defense. And the Bills have been on fire since those early losses. And go ahead. I think I wouldn't be that surprised if they beat the Patriots in the division. Okay, so let's take a look at another 1 p.m. Eastern game on CBS. Ravens taking on the Jets. We would have maybe called this a decent game at the beginning of the season, but it's terrible right now. Because the Ravens are more balanced, I'm going to go with Baltimore to win it in New York City. And now we have Tampa Bay going on the road to take on the 49ers. And both of these teams are terrible. This is 4:05 p.m. Eastern on Fox. I've got to go with the 49ers because they have a better rushing attack. But other than that, they're about the same. They're absolutely terrible. Yeah, that's a hard pick. Another game, 4:05 p.m. Eastern on Fox. How about the Chargers taking on the Falcons? And this is, I've definitely got to go with Atlanta. They've been pretty impressive, other than on the defensive side. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, perhaps the best chemistry in all of the NFL. Then we have the Patriots taking on the Steelers, and this one it's not the best game, but it's a pretty good game. And Steelers, Big Ben got hurt last week. They have a terrible defense. Give me the Patriots on the road. Yeah, and they were destroyed by the Eagles. And now we have our nightcap that Cole will be tweeting about. Seattle taking on Arizona. And this one, I expected this would be one of the top games of the year when the season started. But one of the flaws of predicting the best games of the year when the season starts is that you get stuck with these, which end up in duds. Seattle going on the road in Phoenix to face the Arizona Cardinals. And, I've got to go to Seattle here. Now, if you look at the stats, Arizona's more balanced, but they're just not, they don't have great chemistry. Not the great team. How about another game that Cole will be tweeting about? Monday Night Football on ESPN. The Texans taking on the Broncos in Denver. And who do you got? I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be low scoring, but I think the Broncos get the job done. Okay, so let's take a look at our records so far in picking. Cole, do you think you're winning or do you think I'm winning? Just college so far. That's right. Here we go, and we're doing well, Cole. I'm 14-2 this week. Cole is 12-4, but he did add the signature Penn State football pick. Now, Cole, you're going to tell us something. Why did you pick Penn State? Absolutely, especially with Whiteout. You've got to admit, and even I've got to admit, you know how how Kirk Herbstreit is kind of downplaying the play of the quarterback for them. I think he's good. I'm impressed, don't you think? They were focused, they had the fan base, and that's what Big Ten football is all about. And I've got to give my heart to these guys. Wow, I'm very impressed. Yeah, and I've been. It's just such an impressive win, and I'm. Yeah, and I've got it. I mean, that was some great coaching, don't you agree? By James Franklin. Great. You got the comeback, and it's just good. I'm. I think you've got to rush the quarterback, and you can't let him escape. No more. You've got to load up the box. You can't let the quarterback escape. You got to do a few things. You've got, because they're not that great throwing the ball. So what you got to do is you got to apply pressure, and you can't let JT Barrett escape. You also need to tackle. Whenever there's a run play, you need to get right on them because the only thing they're good at is running. Absolutely. And okay, so here's the two picks that I messed up. Of course, Penn State, but who could have saw that SMU game coming? Of course. But also, look at the focus of SMU coming out of there and getting the job done. Okay, well, thank you, Cole. And that's it for Gridiron Glory, episode 2. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at the Football Kids. That's at the Football Kids. And check out our blog at gridironglorysportsblog.weebly.com. From the studio, this is Alexander Cook and Cole Wolfgang. Have a great rest of your NFL week.